Welcome to the third episode of Smash Mounting Football's NFL Pod, and I'm here with UK-based journalist Conor Perrott to preview Thursday Night Football as the New York Giants head across the country to play the San Francisco 49ers. Conor, how are you getting on?
I'm grand, thank you. Another day down, but it's moving fast, and we're already at week 3.
Week 3. Was there any performances, or was there any stories during the week 2 weekend that kind of stood out for you?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of surprises with it being so early on. Teams like the Bengals and Chargers have started off poorly at 0-2, and then your team, Washington, has had an amazing start against comeback against Denver, and a surpriser 2-0 for the season.
No, it's I'm in a very unusual position of being 2 games into the season with 2 wins. It's been off to a great start, and I've been telling everybody that Washington is a team to watch this year. We've always had a really good defense, and Sam Howell has started off very, very well. I've been very, very impressed with him. He seems to be one of these quarterbacks that if you give him time in the pocket, he has the arm talent to really kind of pick you apart. And so far, so good. The big test now coming up against Buffalo. And I think that'll be a litmus test to see if we're going to be a contender this year in the NFC East, or will we be one of those teams that might be just playing for a wild card spot. What about the Lions? Were you happy with obviously you weren't happy with losing overtime against the Seahawks?
No, very, very annoying game. I think it was a game we should have really comfortably won. We're in control to win. It was all conditions were in our favour, and it was our own fault. Shot ourselves in the foot a lot of the times. I think Dan Campbell made a few questionable 4th down calls when we were up, and hey, overtime you're going to lose like that sometimes. I think injuries really hurt us that game. So yeah, I'm hoping for a bounce back win against the Falcons.
Yeah, and the Falcons is another 2-0 team, so they're doing very well at the moment. It'll be an interesting matchup because the Falcons are kind of being the Lions of this season. They're a team that's kind of taken everybody a little bit by surprise by just the fact that they're getting it done this season. Over the weekend, was there any other matches, or was there any other matches that kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, I think, like I say, the Chargers and Titans, they went to overtime as well, and they lost it late there. But it was a good week of a lot of matches. I think the Giants had a surprise comeback. The Washingtons was a lot of comeback as well, and then the Ravens Bengals was a very good divisional game as well. So a lot of action on week 2, and hoping for more for many more weeks.
Yeah, at the very end of the Commanders game, Russell Wilson threw a Hail Mary, and it bounced off about 3 players before, and the Broncos got a touchdown out of it. So I went from being very, very comfortable being 10 points up with less than 2 minutes to go. It took stopping a 2-point conversion for the Commanders to seal a win. And one of the games that you mentioned there, the Giants coming back against Arizona. The Giants lost week 1, 4-0 against the Cowboys. At halftime, they still hadn't been on the scoreboard. I think they were 20 points down.
Mm-hmm.
What changed with the Giants?
Really, it's like Danny Jones, or I call him Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, finally come alive a little bit. Obviously, he lost Barkley late in the 4th quarter, which would be a huge loss. But they finally just woke up a little bit. You know, Brian Daboll, from that offensive background, for some reason, they just fell asleep on the first couple of weeks. But they put things together against, we'll still say, a bad Cardinals team. So we're not going to get too excited, but They got a comeback win, and that's the main thing at the end of the day. Their record's 1-1, and they can look on to a tough week here at Thursday Night Football.
In that second half, there wasn't any kind of one person doing it. It wasn't just Saquon bailing them out. And Daniel Jones seemed to find a lot of his receivers. He found Jalen Hyatt over the top with a couple of catches. He found Darren Waller within some intermediate throws. How do you think they're going to attack the 49ers tonight?
Yeah, I think that main man's going to be their tight end addition, Darren Waller. He had 6 receptions in that win, and he is now the offense's biggest threat for that team. He's one of the better tight ends in this league, and he's going to be Daniel James' probably number 1 receiver in that game. You know, running back wise, they got Matt Breida, who was formerly of the 49ers, so I'm sure he'll be looking at a little revenge game there to maybe get one over. But God, they got a lot of young receivers, the Giants, like I say, with Hyatt, with Paris Campbell, who they got from the Colts, and Darius Slayton. So, like I say, they've got weapons. I think Darren Waller's their big weapon if Barkley's not ready to go. And with that one superstar weapon, it's going to mean other guys are going to have to step up.
Yeah, it's looking very unlikely at this stage that Saquon Barkley is going to be available. I think he's currently listed as questionable, but they'd nearly be stupid to risk coming after getting an ankle sprain 4 days later. They'd be better off to give him the 10 days until next weekend. With Barkley out, do you think the running game is going to be shut down, or will you see a lot of Daniel Jones run a lot against the 49ers?
Like I say, yeah, I think Daniel James, he is that versatile to where he can use his feet as well, and I think personally he would probably be the Giants' best rushing weapon. With Matt Breida, he's not really starting quality, so against a good 49ers run defense, it's not going to be easy for him. So yeah, I think they might have to do a fair bit of the work with Daniel Jones running the ball and throwing the ball as well.
It's a lot harder to sell that play action when Saquon Barkley isn't on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at the 49ers defense, do you see any weaknesses on it? I mean, do you think they're as good as they were last year?
Yeah, they've, like I say, that defense. They've lost their defensive coordinator Ryans to the Texans, and they've lost cornerbacks as well. I know Mosley went to the Lions, even if he was injured for a bit. But that D line, that linebacker core, is still stronger than ever. They've got so many people across the line that can rotate in, stay fit. They even brought some new people in, Clelin Ferrell from the Raiders, the big pick, and obviously Javon Hargrave. So I think personnel on that D line honestly looks better, which is surprising when they have one of the best D lines already. So it's going to be tough, and I think offensively they've grew as well. So they look like, to me, the best team in the league right now.
Javon Hargrave was kind of their big off-season signing. I was surprised that when they had such a good defense that they would give the big money to another D-line coming in. And it's also surprised with Clelin Ferrell as well. He was a huge player coming out of Clemson. Didn't seem to get going at all with the Raiders. So looking at the other side of the ball, the 49ers offense, have you seen any difference, or have you seen an improvement with Brock Purdy compared to how he played last season?
Yeah, he's had a full off season to train now after that injury in the postseason, and same with McCaffrey as well. He's back there for a full off season. So both of them have heavily gotten used to this Kyle Shanahan offense, and they've picked up even better from last year. So throw that in with Deebo Samuels and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. There's a list of weapons on this team, and they can pass the ball, they can run the ball, they can do pretty much everything. They're so well rounded, and Brock Purdy, he doesn't have to be this top 10 QB because his team is so well done. He can be just quarterback that the 49ers can win with, but he has shown he can make the big time throws as well. So I'm really impressed with this 49ers team to start the season.
Brock Purdy, even though it's only 2 games in, he seems to have a bit of swagger about him this season. He's obviously become a lot more comfortable playing this system. I think Brandon Ayuk is an injury out tomorrow, so we'll probably see a little bit more of maybe Kittle taking the ball, or Juwan James number being called. How do you stop this 49ers offense? They're putting up 30 points almost every game.
Yeah, I think the best way is to stop their run game for starters. Like I said, that's where a lot of their attack come from, because you can take Deebo Samuel out the backfield as well. So I think you're always going to try and stop this run game, stop and force Purdy to make the big time throws and force him to win the game and be the main man on this offense. But it's easier said than done, because like I say, you can shut down that run game, but then you've still got McCaffrey who can take it out the backfield in the receiving game. But Yeah, really got to shut down the running back, Samuel. They can't give him any space, and I think they got to get really aggressive, which is going to be hard when you're in San Fran as well.
And the Giants coming off a good comeback win, but I think that their left tackle is, I think he's didn't practice this week, Andrew Thomas. I think they're
No,
one of their
he was
guards.
limited, yes, throughout the week.
Or was he limited? And one of their guards, Bredesen, I think he was. I'm not sure if he trained this season. So it's very very difficult to see how the Giants might pull this off. But do you think Giants fans can be optimistic going to Santa Clara?
Yeah, I think they could still be optimistic. I don't think this is. I feel more confident in the Giants honestly than I did with the Vikings last week. They've shown they can be a good team and they can win late on like they did last year. This is the second year under Dabo, and I like him as a head coach. He's a great offensive mind. So their O line, you're hoping for guys like Evan Neal to take that second jump up. So it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy by any means, but there's hope there because I think this team is well run.
And they've brought in they seem to have hit with 3 picks in the draft. They brought in Jalen Hyde in the 3rd round as a wide receiver. John Michael Smith's the centre, and started off pretty well. And the 2 linebackers that they brought in free agency as well. Bobby Okereke, or Okereke, as most people call him, and as Isaiah Simmons from the Cardinals. That was a hell of a pickup in the offseason. So their linebacking core should really. This is a really good chance for them to try and see what they can do to stop the San Francisco run game.
Yeah, they got to prove themselves after giving up those 40 points and 20 in the first half to the Cardinals. So yeah, this defense has to step up and perform a little bit like it did last year.
Yeah, because there's big names, not just in the linebacker core, but their whole defensive front are all big names in the NFL at this stage.
Yeah, we've not seen much from Kayvon Thibodeau still. He's not really done much in the pass rushing game, and that's what he was known for at Oregon, for being such a disruptive person off the edge.
Yeah, he saved his best game last season for the Commanders.
Yeah,
It looked like he had arrived, but he kind of tailed off again near the end of the season. So let's go for prediction time. So what's your final verdict on this Thursday night matchup?
yeah. Like I say, with it being San Fran, I'm gonna have to lean with them. I think they've put up two 30 bombs to start the year, and I think Giants defense are gonna come out and prove a little bit. So I don't think it's gonna be the most high scoring game, but yeah, I think maybe 49ers by 2 possessions at least. But yeah, I think it's not going to be too close of a game personally.
Yeah, supporting an NFC East team, it won't feel too bad if the Giants lose. But I certainly want to, if I'm going to stay up late, I want to see a good game. So I'll be hoping it's tight going into the 4th quarter. But again, yeah, it's really hard to see anybody beating the 49ers the way they're playing at the moment. They seem to have just seamlessly continued from where they left off last season. It'll be interesting to see which teams can really stand up to their defense. Okay, Conor, we might leave it there for this week. Thanks very much again for coming in and giving your analysis, and we'll chat again next week.
Pleasure as always, and I expect Commanders to be taking down the Bills for a 3-0.
Let's hope so. I'm quietly confident. The Bills are a really good team, but when you're coming off 2 wins, it's unbelievable how your whole mindset can change. And I think if the Bills are to win, they're certainly going to earn it. All right, see you, Conor.
Cheers.